today's new drug is the pursuit of a new coach. We now know the three that will be in here interviewing. I would imagine it'll come from one of those three. We'll certainly talk about that coming up as we continue to follow the latest in the Jaguar coaching circumstance. There's that today on the program. We've got a Duval County Scholar athlete. Any truth to the rumor that there's going to be blizzard in Jacksonville? Have you heard the blizzard?
Yes, the weather. That's even made headlines. Have you seen New Orleans? Bourbon Street?
And
have
Pensacola.
you seen Tiger Stadium? Yeah, Pensacola.
How about Pensacola?
Yeah.
How about Pensacola?
I mean, Pensacola, if it snows there, whatever. But, I mean, Bourbon Street? I mean, that's wild.
I still got this chesty laugh.
Yeah, me too. I still have that, too.
And so...
you've seen the movie...
you're right. It's Pensacola. Right. For God's sake, who cares? But Bourbon Street.
Did you ever see the 80s movie Weird Science with Kelly LeBrock?
Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured.
Hang on a second. Yes.
Okay. Remember
hang on a second. I need a moment. Okay, I'm good now. Yeah.
Remember when Bill Paxton comes in, the evil brother?
Yes.
At the end? Is there any reason you can tell me why it's snowing in my room, Wyatt?
I do remember that.
It's like what it is. It's like snowing in places it shouldn't be snowing.
Do you remember 89? Do you remember 1980?
I do, yeah.
Like 13, 14?
I was a kid, yeah. And we lived, my parents lived in the Bay Meadows condos that are really no more, but because they had a golf course and stuff like that. Yeah, me and my friends made like makeshift sleds and, we're sliding down the golf course hills. It was awesome.
My mom used to have a Christmas Eve thing. It was right around Christmas. My mom used to have a Christmas Eve thing at her house forever. We always did it in my mom's house, the house I grew up in. And I remember that year it was snowing. I'm thinking, we spent a lot of snowy Christmases in Pennsylvania, but it was kind of snowing in Jacksonville. I remember people in Jacksonville thought it was the coolest thing they'd ever seen. Snow and ice awesome. In Jacksonville. So I
don't remember it like lasting very long, like maybe half the day or something. But it was definitely snow on the ground.
Yeah, it was.
For a few hours.
Yeah, we were over that Times Union building and looking at it over the water,
that's cool.
Remember those days very much. All right, a lot of things to get to today on the program. Interesting game last night. It wasn't entertaining. It was 31-7 at one point, and I applaud Notre Dame for getting back into it. Let me tell you what I took out of the game and see where you are on this. Ohio State's the best team. They're a deserving team. And they've got a lot of dudes that are going to play in the NFL, just like we had this talk. You know how you win a national championship? Get more of those NFL dudes than anybody else. That's how you win the national title. We talked about it with Georgia and Alabama and LSU. Whoever has all those dudes usually wins the title.
Yeah, they're thinking like 16 Buckeyes might get drafted, which would be a record.
Yeah, so they have a lot of dudes. But watching the game, and I think it was probably because of the quarterback play, and listen, tip of the cap to both Will Howard and Riley Leonard, who are tough, hard-nosed college quarterbacks. But I'm watching the throws, even the throw at the end of the game to Jeremiah Smith to kind of put the game away. Boy, they don't look like NFL throws. They don't look like Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. It was a weird feeling for me watching how very non-NFL-like, even Quinn Ewers.
It's a bad year for quarterbacks.
And maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe it's just a bad year for quarterbacks. But usually when you get to the final game, there's some guys throwing darts around there. Right. Did it feel that way to you?
Well, I mean, like imagine if Cam Ward had picked Ohio State.
Correct.
Then you got an NFL guy on top of Shedeur Sanders transferred to let's say Notre Dame or something. But.
It just felt like it was a weird looking. Even that first Notre Dame drive, which was a wonderful drive, it ate up more than half the quarter, and they scored. It just felt kind of like a high school drive. And I'm not knocking Notre Dame. Hey, those are the best two teams in college football. They earned their way into that game. Ohio State's a deserving champion. But you see where I am on that? It didn't have a feel. Usually a really good college game. When Alabama and Georgia played those games, man, it felt like a college game. Even Michigan's team last year that won so comfortably against Washington. That looked like an NFL team with an NFL quarterback, and it just didn't feel that way last night. And I think it was probably the passes for more than anything else.
Yeah, I would say that, I think it's just in college football in general, it was a down year for skill positions. I think that's going to translate to the draft. The receiver position isn't as strong. You have Tedero McMillan out of Arizona, who, could certainly be a top 5 pick, but he played at Arizona, who wasn't really a factor. And, and you don't have, we're used to years where you've had like 7 receivers go top 40. That's not going to happen this year. So I think a lot, and obviously we've talked about it at the quarterback position. The top 2 quarterbacks, neither one of them were in the playoff, and there really isn't a great third prospect right now in terms of the draft. So I think I think it's just a down year for skill, and that was reflected in the I mean, again, all you need to know about this draft class is that a true freshman would go number 1 in this draft if Jeremiah Smith could be drafted.
That's right. That's right. And to that end, one of my topics, Matt Hays tweeted this or posted this on X, and it got me thinking, in this day and age, is he best served to just tell the world he's a free agent? Is he rather than go back to Ohio State? Is he best served rather than go to, the Florida fans all thought he was going to wind up there, and is he best served just say, okay, listen, I won a national title. I appreciate my Buckeyes teammates. It was a fun year in Columbus. But I'm now a free agent. I'm represented by whoever, the Scott Boras.
Rosenhaus.
Yeah, Drew Rosenhaus. And let the bidding begin. Is that, are we headed there at some point where he's not looked at as some turncoat or some traitor? I'm just, listen, we won a title. I obviously had a lot to do with that title. I'm happy we had it. Go Scarlet and Gray. But now,
I mean, they all could do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
are we headed there? I guess is what I'm.
Well, certainly. I mean, you could be it. Now, I think a lot of these schools, like in Ohio State, they're taking care of Jeremiah Smith financially. So my guess is he's not going to get substantially more. The only reason to do it would be if you're not happy with your compensation. Like look at DJ Lagway.
Right.
DJ Lagway could easily. You don't think DJ Lagway would have a bidding war if he now again, we know Florida pays him and pays him well, and maybe they pay him top dollar. Maybe he couldn't get more, but I mean, certainly why not try? I think the stars of the sport are making enough at their schools where they're multimillionaires, so they probably don't have the incentive to do it. I mean, how much more are they really going to be able to command? And again, I would imagine Ohio State would do everything it could financially to keep Jeremiah Smith. They wouldn't be outbid. And I would think it'd be the same thing with any massive school. But yeah, I mean, if you're not getting the salary, like let's say you were a 3-star and probably didn't get crazy NIL money to sign with your school, but you had this amazing first year, maybe like an Anquan Bolden. I don't remember him being overly highly recruited, and then he was like a star immediately.
Correct. Yeah, that's good. That's a good example.
So maybe like a player like that, then But again, I would just assume in this day and age, your school would make sure that you didn't leave because of financial reasons. But sure, I mean, this is capitalism. Go if you're not happy with your compensation, then absolutely. Put yourself out there.
So we'll talk a little bit about last night's game. We'll talk about the everybody's way too early top 25, which came out. Some of them came out, I think, 2 minutes after the game was over. So we'll certainly talk about that, where your team is. The Gators, I saw on the ESPN poll, are 18th. Mm-hmm. Miami 20th. I saw that. I think I saw that right.
Yeah, and then I saw McMurphy had like Florida 15th, but Miami 10th.
Okay.
So yeah, there's certainly. It seems like with Miami, there's a lot of fluctuation.
Yeah.
With Florida, it seems to be a little more. I think I saw one. Maybe it was Stuart Mandel that had Florida 11th. I think was the highest I saw. But yeah, I would expect to see Florida probably somewhere between 15 and 20 in most of these things.
So we'll certainly talk about that. We'll talk about the Bulldogs moving forward. I got a thought or two about that. So we'll look ahead to college football coming up. We'll talk about the Jaguar coaching search. Where are we now? We have 3 guys that we now know tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, if weather doesn't affect that. The next 3, and will there be a coach by Saturday? Certainly that's the coach, or do you bring in another wave of them? So we got some thoughts coming up on that. So we got a lot of fun things to do. Glad you're with us on this Tuesday installment of the program. Our Tuesdays are always brought to you by our friends at the Nimnick family of dealership. That means Nimnick Chevrolet, which is on Caston Avenue. It means Nimnick Buick GMC, which is located on Phillips Highway. You want the best. You want Nimnick. Been buying my cars there a long time, where you should buy your cars as well. Let's kick this thing off with the Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Happy New Year from everyone at Nimnik Buick GMC. And as we begin 2025, Nimnik is excited to offer even more choices and better prices for you, ensuring your car buying experience is second to none. If you're wondering where to go for a better buying experience, it's simple. Nobody but Nimnik. Here's to another year of driving forward together. Looking for a better used car shopping experience? Well, you'll find it at Nimnik Buick GMC, Jacksonville's only Car Bravo certified dealership. Now with Car Bravo at Nimnik, you'll get transparent pricing, the best value on your trade, and peace of mind. Now is the best time to shop certified used vehicles and buy with confidence. And man, you get all the makes and models: Honda, Toyota, Kia, Mazda, Ford. That's right, all makes, all models. Trading in your old vehicle? Don't forget who gives you top dollar for your trade. Nobody but Nimnik. So shop online at nimnikbuickgmc.com or visit their showroom off Phillips Highway. GMC, we are professional grade.
Picture the greatest amusement park you've ever been to as a kid. Now imagine a place nothing like it and a million times better. That's where we are.
1010XL.
I'm Renee Harrell. At Harrell & Harrell, we understand when you've been in an accident, there's a lot to handle. You've lost pay, and now the medical bills are piling up. When there isn't much insurance, some attorneys will pay your bills, take their fee, leaving you with even less than them. Not at Harrell & Harrell. We'll work hard to reduce your medical bills, and we promise our fee will never be more than you take home. Call us today, 904-251-1111. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Offices, Jacksonville.
Get this thing unwrapped here. Duval!
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, Dan. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. John's County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Daily Dash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, like me. I'm sure there's a Daily Dash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course,
oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it!" and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Daily Dash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Daily Dash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
This is Mark Nato. My son Justin injured his hand playing baseball for JU. Southeast orthopedic specialist performed surgery just a few days later, and within 5 weeks, he was cleared to play in the ASUN baseball tournament. Our family has trusted Southeast orthopedic specialists for years. For any orthopedic injury, let Southeast orthopedic specialists take care of you too.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast orthopedic specialists.
New year, new beginnings, and a new roof. Start 2025 with peace of mind and take advantage of Universal Roof and Contracting's limited time offer. 15% off all roof repairs and replacements. From leaks to full replacements, call 855-ROOF-HELP or visit universalroof.com to schedule your free roof inspection today. This special New Year deal ends January 31st. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home and building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
Frank Frangie here. Join us for the Frangie Show Friday from 4 to 6 at Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island. We'll preview the AFC-NFC Championship game, and you can win a pair of Gator basketball tickets. Friday, 4 to 6 at Barley and Pie in Fleming Island.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey. Here in North Florida, you know that when temperatures go up and your AC goes out, you need help now. Like right now. Like lickety-split. So why not call Lickety Split and get same-day emergency service for your AC? Now, I bet you've seen their trucks all over town because they've got dozens of certified technicians ready to repair not only your AC, but your home's plumbing and electrical too. So when you want it done right, and you need it done right now, call Lickety Split AC Plumbing and Electric.
Hacker here, and let me tell you, I've crushed some goals in my life, but this one is big. Under 200 pounds, thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. My first goal was to lose 100 pounds. Honestly, that was a cakewalk, so I set my sights on breaking the 200-pound mark. And guess what? I just hit it. Now, I get it. Most of you don't have 120 pounds to lose like I did. Maybe it's 25 like Dempsey or 40 like Matt Hays. But here's the deal. No matter how much weight you need to lose, Awaken 180 works, and we're proof. We can't hide these results, and we don't want to. Awaken 180 is proven. It's easy, and the weight pours off fast without a life of medications. You follow the plan, lose the weight, and it's gone for good. So stop waiting for the perfect time. Visit awaken180weightloss.com and see what you can accomplish. If we can hit these goals, you can too. 844-346-1800 or online, awaken180weightloss.com.
When you roll into a convenience store for some cold Bud Light, you want to make sure it's, well, cold. Check out the big coolers at Circle K. They make sure it's chilled and ready to go for the big game or party. Swing by Circle K and pick up some cold Bud Light.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Hey, let's go!
And now, this week's Scholar Athlete of the Week. Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234 on 1010XL.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the program. It is time for our Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week. It is Riley Chapman who checks in from Fletcher. Hey, Riley.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so you go to Fletcher, you're playing soccer. We're going to get into your academics, which are extremely good in a minute. But let's talk about soccer. You were telling us some fun stories. Tell us a little bit about your soccer season.
Yeah, this season we've done really great. We've won all but 2 of our games, and we've had 1 tie, so it's been a really great senior year. And last year our season was cut a little shorter than I feel like it should have been, but I think we're going to go further this year.
All right, tell us the story about senior night that you were telling us off air. Pretty cool story.
Yeah, so senior night was on my birthday this year, and it was a lot of fun. We played Sandalwood, and we won. And my coach, he moved me to forward, and he told me I had 5 minutes to score, and I did.
5 minutes, Hays. That's pressure is what that is.
That is. That's outstanding. And tell us all about the Gateway.
Yeah, so we had Gateway Conference Championship game 2 weeks ago, and we were able to play Stanton again. And last year we also played Stanton in the championship game, but we lost. But this year we were able to pull out with a win, and I was also able to score in that game from defense.
Riley scores in the big games, Hays.
Clutch.
So where are we now? Districts? Tell us about that.
Yes, sir. So next week we'll have our first games for districts.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are we confident?
I am, yes.
Because Ms. Talley was coaching you during the break.
Yes, sir. I'm confident.
In terms of college, do you know kind of what your plan's going to be?
Yeah, so I'll be attending Palm Beach Atlantic University, and I'm going to play soccer there.
Awesome.
Tell us about Palm Beach Atlantic. Tell me about the school.
It's in West Palm Beach. It's so beautiful down there. It's only a mile from the ocean, and it's a Christian school, so I'll also be able to expand in my faith while I'm there, and so I'm really excited.
That really is exciting. What do you want to do down the road? What do you want to study?
I plan to major in exercise science to hopefully become a physical therapist.
Very cool.
What's been the key for you in terms of time management, being able to be so successful in the classroom and on the athletic field?
I definitely think my parents kind of instilled that in me when I was young, and then I've just kind of as I've gotten older, realized if I don't manage my time, then first of all, I'm not going to have any free time because I'm not going to be able to have time to do the stuff I want to do. But also I won't be as successful. And my coaches throughout my club experience have made it clear to us, if you want to be at the next level, you also have to have good grades, and that's a big part of it.
Yeah, and soccer's, look, you came up through Florida Elite. You're going to play in college. Soccer's a big deal to you, it sounds like. Why is soccer important to you the way it is?
Probably a big part of it is the relationships I've been able to make and the way it's connected to me to some of my closest friends. I think that's been a big part of me sticking with soccer, but also just the love for the game that I've gotten along the way.
Well, that is really cool. Well, Riley Chapman is our Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week. She's from Fletcher, an outstanding student. She's already got her college plans. and now I already won the Gateway, already scored in the Gateway. Now it's time to go win the district and move on in the state. So congratulations. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Riley Chapman from Fletcher High School. She is our Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week, and a very good one, and she's got a plan. She knows what she's going to do in college all the way up. So congratulations to Riley Chapman, our Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week from Fletcher High School. Frangie and Carlyon La Selva with you. All right, Ben Johnson's off the board. 3 guys are coming in. One more time, it will be Liam Coen tomorrow. It will be Patrick Graham Thursday. It will be Robert Saleh Friday. For Coen and Graham, it'll be their first in-person interview with the Jaguar brass. Saleh had his first interview in person. He was here, so it'll be his second one, but the official in-person one. There are other candidates. There's candidates that it doesn't look like made the second interview. There's also a guy like Joe Brady who can't have in Kellen Moore, who can't have the second interview, but could if their teams don't move on Sunday. Do you think this is it? This is the group, and then we'll have a coach over the weekend? What's your vision on this?
I would think, certainly that Liam Coen is head and shoulders the leader in the clubhouse. So I would assume you interview Liam Wednesday, then they'll interview Graham, and then it could be as early as Friday. Because the Saleh interview, I don't think Saleh is going to actually do the interview if he feels like it's not to be the head coach. Because he's going to be, if it's to be the defensive coordinator, he's going to go.
I hadn't even thought about that.
He's going to go to San Francisco.
Yeah. But okay, that's interesting.
I think it could be wrapped up by Friday, and then the Saleh interview maybe doesn't even occur. But yeah, I would think it would be pretty fast. Look, it needs to be fast. Just look at your division. Houston they have their team. They're not losing anybody. We've seen, and we'll talk about it in headlines, the Colts have hired a defensive coordinator. They're fully stocked. The Titans have hired a general manager. They've hired a special teams coordinator, and they've made really strong hires. So, you don't have a lot of time to, ease into the off season, and build and hire a coach and then have him hire a staff. So I think there is some sense of urgency to this. I think days count. And so, yeah, I think it could be incredibly quick. And I would think at this point it's Liam Coen, because I think it makes sense for both sides.
Yeah, I do too. A bunch of thoughts on it. And again, we remember now, we got hit with the Ben Johnson news 10 minutes before we went on the air yesterday. So for us, it was really reactionary. Every other show had time kind of to digest it for a while. Excuse me. It was reactionary for us. In retrospect, I'll reiterate some of what I said yesterday. It's just, to me, surprising that he would either take the job or be offered the job without the in-person interview. And so the Bears were confident enough in him to offer him the job without an in-person interview. Ben was obviously confident enough to take that job without going and visiting other whatever. So whether or not he was ever going to be in play for Jacksonville, that'll come out at some point. But it happened very quickly, and I'll say what I said yesterday too, Hays. They played Saturday night. They played this season of seasons, this ultimate season that was supposed to be the most glorious season in probably the Lions' history. I'm sure the Lions probably won an NFL back in the Joe Schmidt, Alex Karras days, I guess. I don't know, but it's been a long time, And so this was the season of all seasons. Now, they had a brutal array of injuries, not the least of which was Aiden Hutchinson, one of the best pass rushers in the league, and that happened very early on. But yet here they are, at home, as a favorite, a somewhat prohibitive favorite, the team to be. Everybody thought it was going to be the Lions and the Eagles fighting it out, and they have this gut-wrenching, yank your heart out loss that nobody saw coming. The big upset, you characterized it, I thought, correctly yesterday, one of the biggest upsets in a while, right?
Absolutely.
In the playoffs. So they have this this gut-wrenching
for that team to lose to a rookie quarterback at home.
Correct. For everything you said is exactly right. Just yank your heart out loss that probably ended Saturday night I don't know, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, you're home by 1 or 2 in the morning, and you're dusting off the devastation and the whole Detroit people. 24 hours later, you got a job. That just seems really weird to me on every front. It just seems that tells you that you were certainly had to be well down the road on some possible jobs, or you don't take a job that fast. So that to me is a very unusual circumstance that boom, you have a job. So I don't know what to make of it.
Well, you don't normally have the hot coordinator having as much clout as Ben Johnson had in this cycle.
I agree.
Because he had put off taking a job. So he had multiple years of being really elite at what he's done.
I agree with that. It was an unusual circumstance.
Yeah,
I agree.
So he was a stronger candidate than most for a guy that had never been a head coach before. And I mean, look, I can't fault him for basically being like, look, I want this wrapped up. I want to know where I'm going. I want to, look, I'm fortunate enough to have options, and I don't want to string this out anymore. And I commend Chicago. They knew who they wanted. They've seen him twice a year. Why would you need to sit down and talk to him? You know what kind of a coach he is. I mean, look, if he's a bad fit, are you going to find that out in an interview anyway? I mean, I just think Chicago looked at it and was like, we know this is who we want. Let's strike. I mean, let's be proactive. This is professional sports. It's the most cutthroat league in America, and let's get our guy.
So they get their guy in Ben Johnson. We'll see how Ben turns out. But he's going to be the Chicago coach. I will tell you this. And by the way, I think he's going to be good. I'd be disingenuous if I told you I think he's going to be a bust. I don't. I think he's good. Not that many people could be wrong. Every analyst that follows it closely thinks he's going to be. So I think Ben Johnson's going to be very good. But I will always try and find the silver lining. What I do like about the circumstance with Coen that I didn't necessarily have with Johnson, at least for me, I do like the fact that there's more a vastness of experience. Don't misread. I think Ben Johnson's going to be good. I'd be lying if I said I don't think he's going to be good. But he's been a coordinator one place with one quarterback and with one coach. I like the fact that Coen, and by the way, I don't know that Coen's will be the next coach, but I'm going to stand by what I said. I said 3 weeks ago I thought it'd be one of these two guys. I'm not going to, and one of them's gone. So shame on me if I don't tell you now I think it's going to be Coen, because I've been saying that all along. I like the fact that he's been a coordinator 4 places. He's been a coordinator at Maine. He's been a coordinator at Kentucky. He's been a coordinator for the Rams. He's been a coordinator for the Bucs. I like the fact that he was under Sean McVay for 4 years. I think he's a really good mentor for him. I like the fact that he has all that. I like the fact that he's worked with Matt Stafford and Baker Mayfield. That's 2 pros. I like the fact that he worked with them when they were older. So I like the fact that he's had that. I like the makeup. I like it a lot. My concern, and it would have been with Ben Johnson too, is you never know. What I told you yesterday, you really don't know when you get one of these guys that hasn't done it before. That would be my pause. I like what I see. I like what I hear about the guy, but again, you don't know with any of them that have never done it before. I would think he's going to be the next coach. Patrick Graham comes in here with a great defensive resume. All those years under Belichick, yet he's been other places. Very creative defensive coordinator, a tough, hard-nosed guy. He learned from Belichick. He learned from Brian Flores. He's been under really good. My guess is he's a really good football coach. But A, he's another one that hasn't done it. And B, what are you doing about offense? These are the most important years. These might be the most important offensive years in your team's history, because you're about to get years 5 through 8 for Trevor Lawrence. Robert Saleh, for people that don't know Robert, it's a wonderful guy. You know Robert a little bit, probably. Yeah. Just a wonderful guy. I mean, you talk about building culture and respect, and everybody that's ever been around the guy respects him. He's got 7 kids. He's a great father. He's a really good man. But do you bring in a coach, if we're being honest here, do you bring in a coach that has had 3 losing seasons after you just moved on from a coach who's had 2 winning seasons and 1 losing season? You just moved on from the only coach in your history that's ever had more winning seasons than losing seasons. Can you then, from a perception standpoint, bring in a guy that's had only losing seasons? And so, and again, he's had the good as he's had the experience. So again, it might be one of the other 2, but I would think if you add up all the if you throw that all into that formula all into the calculator, Hays, it would seem to me that Liam Coen is, unless he messes up the interview, and he did very well in the first interview, it would seem to me he's going to be the next coach. And again, I want to be clear. There's no inside people telling me that. I just think the logic adds up that he's going to be the next coach.
Well, and it seems like Tampa Bay is cognizant of the fact that he's probably going to take this job.
Yeah, that's
so. I mean, you're also hearing it from their side of they're not expecting him back.
Yeah, I would think, and of course, if you don't turn this thing down, obviously. So I think Liam Cohen's probably going to wind up being the coach of the Jaguars. And here's what's most critical. We've all said this. You probably said it before I did, but we've all said it. These are the years that will define Trevor Lawrence's career. The one thing Ben Johnson and Liam Coen both had, Hays, they had the quarterbacks in the good years. When Ben Johnson finally got Jared Goff, he was late 20s. He had all the scarring from the early years with the Rams. By the time Ben Johnson got Jared Goff, it was the perfect time to get him. By the time Liam Coen could work with Matt Stafford and Baker Mayfield, the scarring was gone. So both of them had the advantage of not just having a good quarterback, but a smart quarterback, a veteran quarterback, a quarterback. Those are the prime years. You said it a couple weeks ago on the program. Years 5 through 8 those are the key years, man. Those are and Trevor's about to launch into those. Doug Peterson didn't get those. Doug Peterson got years 2, 3, and 4. Now the next coach is going to get that scarring's gone. You would hope the next coach gets the next wave of that. He gets years 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that's an advantage for Ben Johnson if he had come here. Now Ben Johnson is going to go through what Doug Peterson went through. He's getting years 2, 3, 4, and 5 with Caleb Williams, which what Doug Peterson got here. Liam Coen, assuming he gets this job, he gets years 5, 6, 7, and 8, which I think is critical. So it's a better situation. I'll stand by this. It's a better situation than the Bears, and I think Coen walks into a better situation than I think Johnson does.
Well, I agree, and from a winning standpoint, because I would rather have Trevor where he is right now than Caleb, and obviously we've talked about the division. I mean, the resistance isn't nearly as strong here as it would be in Chicago. The biggest thing, in terms of why this might work is that Liam Coen should be able to relate to Trevor Lawrence. There's plenty of film for Liam to go over, and it's not going to take him long to realize the instinctual flaws that need to be brought out and corrected in Trevor Lawrence. And for Trevor Lawrence, it's going to be easier for him to pick up on what Liam Coen wants because, unfortunately for him, he's had to learn a lot of systems and things like that. And I think he's going to have a much better idea of, I like this because it's going to translate because when I played the Colts, last year, I think it's just going to be easier for them to get on the same page because of Trevor's experience. We've talked about it. We want Trevor Lawrence to have a partner in this from the head coaching perspective. And Liam Coen certainly, it meets that requirement. I just worry about the running of the football operation. Again, when this team was, fighting the Patriots in the AFC title game in 2017, Liam Coen was the offensive coordinator at Maine. I mean, that is a massive step from 2017. Your last head coach that year won the Super Bowl that year. This head coach, it looks like, was the offensive coordinator at Maine. So again, there's such an experience deficiency there. It's not to say it can't be overcome. And I would anticipate that Liam Coen and Trevor Lawrence will get along well, but it's building the staff and again, when your head coach is this inexperienced, is he going to be able to go and get seasoned coaches? Because again, to McVay's credit, when he got the Rams job, he turned the defense completely over to Wade Phillips, and it was a brilliant move. And so, that will be paramount for the team's success. But yeah, I mean, look, in terms of Trevor Lawrence and elevating his play, Liam Coen certainly should be able to do that with what we saw in Tampa Bay this past season. Hopefully he can. It's just because he's inexperienced doesn't mean that he can't do it. You just assume, obviously, a greater risk.
Yeah. And and again, I'll say this. I've said all along, and I'll say it again. The one thing the Patriots are getting that the Bears are not getting, and we'll see what happens with these other 3 or 4 open jobs, is a guy that's done it. That's the one thing. The reason Vrabel was first on my list from the minute we started talking about this, the reason he was first on my list is he had done it before. No matter how long you've been into it, no matter how long you've been in the mix, Ben Johnson, Liam Coen, Joe Brady when he gets a job, and at some point he's going to get a job. When all these guys get a job for the first time, that's their first run at this. That's going to be their first run at this, and we'll see how they do it. As we break, I'll say this. Very good point that I didn't think about with Wade Phillips. Whether you're Ben Johnson, Liam Coen, Joe Brady, whoever, Kellen Moore, you would think the wise move, if you are head coach for the first time and you are going to be the head coach of the offense, which is what you would imagine with all these guys, go get a defensive guy that is about as grizzled and experienced and older than you could imagine. I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. That's part of the best thing Sean McVay did, isn't it? I mean, among all the other things he did, is he went in there and said, I got Wade Phillips. Call me if you need me, right? You know where my office is, but this is your game. And that makes a lot of sense. And I would imagine Ben Johnson in Chicago, Liam Coen, if he gets the job here, would treat it the same way. Let's talk some college football after this. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Things you never hear Dan and Jeff say.
Sorry, guys. I'll let you down.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser are The Drill.
I'm nothing but a big phony.
Mornings on 1010XL.
And you're not the raving psychopath I originally thought that you were.
This is Hays Carlyon for Physician Guided Weight Loss. I need help losing weight. I'm older and I just don't have the discipline needed to lose weight on my own. But luckily, I discovered Physician Guided Weight Loss. Their amazing technology, fast setup, friendly staff, and proven results sold me. I'm already seeing amazing results. They can help you too, and it's affordable with firm pricing, no rising costs as you go. If you're like me and looking to kick off the new year with a leaner body, call my friends at Physician Guided Weight Loss at 257-4344. That's 257-4344.
Happy New Year from Big Chief Tire. Frank Frangie here. Start 2025 off right by keeping your car running smoothly. Whether you're traveling for work or heading out on a weekend getaway, their expert technicians will ensure your vehicle is in top shape. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule maintenance, repairs, or tire service. With Big Chief Tire's trusted care, you'll tackle every journey ahead with peace of mind. Start the year strong. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling. If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Hicken here for Bout 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bout 9. Visit Bout 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bout 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
You've probably heard the saying, it's not how hard you get hit, it's whether or not you get back up. Well, I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and I have a saying of my own. If you get hit with a personal injury or wrongful death, hit back and fight to make them pay. At Hastings Injury Law, we have the experience you want if you or a loved one suffer a car or trucking accident or wrongful death. Just call 904-HIT-BACK and we'll help you get up and hit back. Office is Jacksonville.
Mike Dempsey here. Look, it's been 10 years that I've been vouching for my guys at Dandy Foods, and for a decade, I'm proud of my association with a local family business. They make a great product. I've made no secret that I was a customer long before Dandy ever came on board on 1010XL. But I'm thinking I'm due a little Dandy swag, maybe a little love. How about a Dandy t-shirt, a ball cap? So how about it, Thompson family? What do you got going on over there? In the meantime, I'm going to keep eating those delicious tuna salad sandwiches. So guys, keep helping me out and grab a Dandy sandwich today.
Hey, gang, Prosser here. Are you struggling to sell your home? How long has it been sitting on the market? Are you tired of being tired of trying to sell your home? Go to The Guarantee. ChadandSandy.com. I've been telling you about Chad and Sandy literally for years now. And here's the Chad and Sandy guarantee. You want a guarantee? Your home sold guaranteed, or they will buy it. That's right. The agreed upon asking price, the agreed upon deadline, sold by that, or they buy it. How much more of a promise do you need? The only local real estate experts I trust and recommend with the sale of your home. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. No long-term contracts. You can cancel at any time. And again, guarantee your home sold at an agreed upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Pete in Lakeshore said, I was in a pickle. I needed cash out on a rental property fast, and I was struggling to rent. I heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. I had an offer for full asking price within days. These guys made it easy and delivered big-time results. It's what they do. Call Chad and Sandy today, 414-6200, or ChadandSandy.com.
Fish know where to hide. Captain Kevin knows how to find them.
That's a big one.
Listen for the Wing Power Fishing Forecast Show, brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss and Royal Pest Services.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Jacksonville. When AEW returns home, it is the biggest party in all of professional wrestling.
Daily's Place, the home of AEW.
And on Saturday, January 25th, Collision returns live. It's a new year and a whole new era in AEW. And there's no better time to experience the excitement than right now. AEW Collision Homecoming, live from Daily's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. Tickets on sale now, starting at $20 at AEWTIX.com.
Don't go through another year with all that high-interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Hey, it's Prosser here, and Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as 1 day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and personal loans, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. You can. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 904-999-1508, or visit loanpronto.com. Get your free quote now with no hard credit pull at 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
Do want to thank our friends from the Nimnick family dealership. Man, I've been buying my cars there since the early 80s, and I keep right on doing it. I didn't even know how to buy a car then, but Billy Nimnick Jr. showed me how. God rest his soul. His son, Billy Nimnick III, runs the joint now, and they do such good work. Nimnick Chevrolet's on Cassett, Nimnick Buick GMC's on Phillips Highway. You know that name. I tell you what, you look at the names you know of businesses in Jacksonville, and I don't know that there's any more prominent and more well-known than that Nimnick name. So they do great work, and they continue to, and they will continue to. Buy your cars from Nimnick. I'm awfully glad that I do that. That's Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC products. Great American-made products for sure. Frangie and Carlyon, JJ La Selva with you as we kind of continue along here on the program. Let's get a little bit to college football. All right. The season's over. Ohio State won it. Good season. Good college football season. It was first year of a 12-teamer. I think it was a good season. I think it was a good playoff. I don't know that anything is going to jump off the page and grab me about the season. It's not like and Travis Hunter's a good Heisman Trophy winner, but it's not like it was a Heisman for the ages. It's not like Ohio State's a champion for the ages. I mean, they lost to their rival in November. Mm-hmm. So it's a good season.
Not a ton of upsets either.
No.
We had Vandy beat Alabama,
right,
which was monstrous.
Yeah.
But certainly in the playoff, it pretty much all went as you would have expected. So that was sort of a surprise that you didn't get maybe a little bit more curveballs. There was some new comers in terms of teams that contended, like Indiana and Boise State getting the 3 seed, Arizona State,
Indiana, and Arizona State too. That was a good story. That was one of the better stories of the year. I didn't think about that. The self carnage of the SEC. Ole Miss looking like the team that couldn't get beat until all they did is get beat. The collapse is too strong a word, but the working its way back to the pack of Alabama, I thought was a storyline with its new coach, because I would think where Kalen DeBoer takes Alabama in the next 2 or 3 years is a gigantic storyline. You don't want to be the guy after the guy. Man, he's the ultimate guy after the guy, isn't it? That's about as guy after the guy as it gets.
And they're not getting a lot of hype in these preseason polls that we're seeing. I mean, you're seeing Alabama somewhere between like 15 and 20.
Yeah.
That's not going to sit well in Tuscaloosa. So he's got some work ahead of him for sure.
Yeah. So I think that was one of the storylines. So as you look ahead to these way too early top 25s, Hays, as you take a little sneak peek, storylines, obviously, as you look at the teams to watch, Ohio State should be at the top of most polls, right? I mean, they won the dang thing, and they're always going to have 1,000 players. You know that.
I'm curious to see what they do at quarterback.
I am too. I think you go get the portal guy du jour, right? I don't know who it is this year, but wouldn't you think that's? I don't sense that there's a guy waiting to play there. Do you?
In Schlabaugh's thing, he says Julian Sayin, a 5-star prospect who transferred from Alabama, will probably be QB1. So, I mean, we'll see, but certainly an unproven player.
Yeah. Arch Manning will be the Texas quarterback, and he'll be one of the most talked about players in college football before he ever plays it down in his then sophomore year. Drew Aller is back for Penn State.
They kind of feel to me to be the team. We saw Michigan win it, do everything it took to win the title. Ohio State said, well, we're not going to live in this world. So they went and spent huge on their team and won it all.
Right.
It now kind of feels to me like it's Penn State's turn. They've gotten the quarterback to return, both running backs to return.
Right.
It feels like...
And they were really good.
So it feels like to me like this could be the year where Penn State's alumni just basically says, okay, what's it going to take?
Right.
And they give James Franklin a just absolute monster roster.
Yeah, so very good call. Georgia will be have top 5 talent, but what do they do at quarterback?
Are you surprised that Gunnar Stockton seems to be what they're going to... that's the plan?
Yeah, because I don't sense that there's Cam Ward was out there last year. He was going to land somewhere. Riley Leonard, for whatever he was and wasn't at Duke last year, was going to be a decent quarterback if he landed at Notre Dame. If Quinn Ewers is going to the pros. They thought about he may move. I can't think of a quarterback that can move. I mean, Florida State has Thomas Castellanos, who might be fine, but he's certainly not an elite quarterback. I don't think there's a guy moving. I don't think there's a guy for them to go get, I guess is my point. So I don't know what other options they have. I do believe what was reported by Matt Hays, that they wanted Beck back. I do believe that. He's not going back. I remember they lost Brock Vandagriff last year. The Rashada thing never panned out. He's no good. I mean, if we haven't figured out by now that Jaden Rashada is no good, we're not paying attention. Sorry, I know I've never seen him play, but I'm going to follow the evidence on this one. They didn't wind up getting Raiola, who was a big-time prospect. He committed, then left. I don't know that there's other options. I couldn't tell you what their depth chart is at quarterback, but I think you look up and say, okay, there's not a portal guy out there. We've lost Beck and Vandergrift in recent years. I'm sure how good Brock is anyway. Raiola, who was our big-time prospect, left or never came, went to Nebraska instead. Rashada was never going to be the guy. I think everybody gets him on campus and realizes he's not very good. I don't think there's I guess my point is I don't know that there's a lot of options out there.
Does it make him vulnerable if Gunnar Stockton is the quarterback?
Doesn't it have to?
I think it does.
It has to make. It doesn't make him vulnerable is the right word. That's the perfect word. It doesn't make him bad.
Right.
It doesn't make him not necessarily really good, but vulnerable is the word because again it doesn't look like it's in there with him. It looks like he's an old school Georgia quarterback who's tough and won't back down and loves playing for the Dogs. But it doesn't look like he's headed to playing on Sundays. It just, say what you want about Stetson Bennett. I know he was 5'11" and nobody knew him, he had a big arm. The thing that gets missed most about Stetson Bennett, he's a rifle arm. People don't think that. They just think, he's another one of these Georgia walk-on type quarterbacks who's 5'10" or 5'11". But he can. I mean, Kirby Smart told me at the SEC Media Days, we were talking. You might have been there. You might have been with Matt. But he said, Frank, he can really spin it now. He said, people are losing sight of that. This was before the second title. He said, people think he's this little quarterback with this little arm, but by God, he's a Georgia guy, and he can throw it. And I'm not sure Gunnar Stockton can. I didn't get the impression that's there with him, the little bit I saw him.
Yeah, I wasn't overly impressed either. Now, it's a small sample size, and we'll see when
that's right.
Gunnar has a full off season. But that's the thing. Like, I would have really moved mountains to try and get Quinn Ewers, who I don't think is a superstar, but I think if you put him on, Georgia's roster, then you might have something pretty special. And look, maybe Gunnar Stockton develops into that, but I would be nervous.
Well, they're not. They're.
I would say if you're ranking the 16 quarterbacks in the SEC right now, based on who we believe the starter will be, for the first time in a long time, Georgia's going to have a guy that, is in the bottom half.
Well, and not only that, but look at the teams they're going to play. They play Cade Klubnik every year. I think he's got a chance to have a good year. They got to play DJ Lagway. Most people think he's going to have a good year. Haynes King went back, who almost beat them, So yeah.
You've got Nico at Tennessee, who I still think there's a special player in there.
Well, the ceiling.
If they can ever bring it out.
Yeah, Nico's a guy that if he ever the ceiling's as big as anybody's. He's 6'6". He's got a cannon arm. He's got NFL written all over him if he can ever reach the ceiling. So LSU brings its quarterback back. I do think I think Clemson with Klubnik's got a chance to be pretty good as you look ahead. I'll even say keep an eye on South Carolina. Lenore Sellers, I think in today's football, is a pretty special quarterback.
I think they'll be the most disappointing team in college football.
You think they'll drop back?
I think so. And it's nothing against him. I do think that he's got a lot of talent, but that's one where we now know we're living in an era where one of these top 10 teams, if not more, but probably at least one of them. We saw it with FSU last year. I'm not saying South Carolina will go 2-10,
right? But
if you're looking at this top 10, if I was going to pick a team, and it's not a Lenora Sellers thing, it's more of I just think South Carolina is sort of a middling team.
You got to prove it more than once.
Yeah,
that's what you're thinking. So let's get to Florida. I told Hicken this on the podcast. The two that stick in my craw are Pyburn and TJ Searcy. They lost 15 guys to the portal. Most of them weren't going to play.
Did you see Boardingham ended up at Bowling Green?
I did. And Boardingham was a guy that's a good pass catcher, wasn't going to block anybody. But if TJ Searcy and Jack Pyburn had not left, I think they'd have a potential to be a top 10, 12 team. I know they've still got some edges, but those I thought their strength of their team was that there were 4, 5, 6 of those guys, and they could run them in and out and play all 4 of them together in nickel. He's not going to hire an offensive coordinator. I don't think he ever was going to. You and I had this talk. I never believed he was going to do it, no matter how many rumors and big boosters and everyone talked about. I don't think he was ever hiring an offensive coordinator.
He hasn't hired anybody yet.
Yeah.
I mean, the season ended over a month ago.
Right. I think they will bring in a GM because they've interviewed those. I think there's a chance he brings in a defensive coordinator. I don't think that's a laydown either, by the way. But I think there's a chance.
Yeah, I mean, because what's the holdup?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Well,
you're the University of Florida. It's not like you're Elon. And everybody's got to basically fill a musical chair before you can make your hire. You're the Gators. What are you waiting on?
Here's what I think. They've got a lot of coaches whose contracts expire January 31st. Okay, they have an open position in Austin Armstrong. So my first question was, you got a position, go hire the guy. Well, based on what I think happened with Ron Roberts, who's still on salary, that determines what you offer that open position. If Roberts goes away or if you fire him, well, now you've got $2 million to pay the coordinator, and I think maybe our old friend Joe Cullen is in play. I know certainly that the Will Muschamp was in play. I think just like when Michigan went and got Wink Martindale last year. The reality is Joe Cullen turned that job down for 2.5, and then Martindale took the job. So I think once you know what's going to happen with Ron Roberts, then you can understand. Then Billy can decide what he wants to do with that open position. But his history has been do nothing, surround himself with guys he knows rather than go get the renowned guy at a certain spot. That he go get old Southern guy that you know, because that's who Billy is. And if he does that, I think they'd be better off if they go get a real qualified coach. But for now, you're right. Boy, there is no movement. I mean, it is nothing. I mean, it's just moving slowly. So given all of that, if Lagway takes the next step, what's the ceiling for Florida in the 2025 season?
I think they can go 10-2, best case scenario, which is Lagway becoming a superstar.
And that would get him in.
And with that schedule.
We now know that 9-3, no matter what your schedule is, probably doesn't get you in.
I think 9-3, it would be difficult but not impossible, because I don't think the season is always going to lay out the way this season laid out.
There's some truth to that.
But certainly 10-2 with Florida's schedule, they'd be a lock. 9-3. They'd probably have, I'd say, better than a puncher's chance. I mean, again, it would depend on when the 3 are, obviously. But yeah, I mean, obviously the schedule is going to be incredibly difficult again. But I think now that they have found some confidence, this time last year, they were still in that mode where it was like, okay, what crisis is going to befall us next? Like, that was sort of the mentality of, okay, what's the next setback that we're going to have to deal with? Whereas now it feels like they have found confidence. They believe good things are going to happen. Lagway is yet to lose a game that he started and finished. They, like we've talked about, they've got the longest active win streak in the SEC at 4 games. You know, that's all very positive stuff. So, yeah, and I love their ground game. I think the receivers have a chance to be good. Obviously, anytime you return 4 starting offensive linemen, you feel really great about that.
From a pretty good line.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I think defensively, he's recruited well enough now. I'd be shocked if he can't find 16 really good defensive players among that roster.
You would think,
and if he's able to find that, they should have
to that end,
a pretty good rotation.
Well, to that end, if you're looking for 16 good defensive players, I can run 10, 12 off the top of my head that are on the team.
Right.
You know, I can tell you who they are. I can tell you the defensive backs and the linebackers and a couple of the edge guys and Caleb Banks. I can tell you, I can run off about 12 of them. So can you find the rest?
Yeah. And, you know, again, I think the signing class was, you know, way better than anybody thought it would be after the Texas loss. So, I mean, I think do you have a couple of guys, again, the great news for Florida, you don't have to count on those guys to step in and be stars.
That's right.
But he's recruited well enough that it's not out of the realm of possibility, particularly one of those safeties that might just step on campus and be, you know, Eric Berry from day one.
Yeah, final thing is I think that I would still like to see them in the May portal add 2 or 3 players. Not a lot. I'd like a defensive lineman. I'd like a physical defensive lineman. Maybe more than anything else, and maybe one more veteran receiver. We'll see what winds up happening. Good stuff. Let's take a break. Let's get it back to the NFL. More Jaguar talk, more coaching talk. And we're down to 4 teams. Have you heard?
Yeah.
They're down to 4. That's how they do it.
Good
so
matchups.
And after that, there'll be 2. So we'll talk some NFL after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Your home for Florida Gators basketball is 1010XL.
The number 5 Gators grapple with the Gamecocks in a clash at Colonial Life Arena, Florida, South Carolina. Tomorrow at 6:30 on 1010 AM.
This is Hays Carlyon, here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control. By now, many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish family, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
New Year's resolutions. But let's be honest, by February, that gym membership is just a $50 a month guilt trip.
So why not take that cash and finally fix your leaky faucet, unclog that drain, or tune up your AC?
Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning has your back. Start the year fresh. No leaks, no clogs, no excuses.
It's a resolution you'll actually keep.
Call Duck Rooter at 904-862-6769 today. Because when you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Good morning, big freaks. Who's ready to move? Let's start this day right.
Tasha's morning dance parties are meeting rave reviews.
Lose your phones and find your groove.
They need an ops manager to help their community dance the morning away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Spend lunchtime with the ladies.
Hey, where's your sense of adventure?
They don't cook, but they serve up spicy sports talk.
Sure, it's on the menu.
Helmets and heels.
That is a meal.
Switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. On 1010XL. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry and receive a free hair and scalp examination and get 2 weeks of laser treatments for free. Call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Hair4me.com.
Take your taste buds to One Night Taco Stand for Taco Tuesday. Get $2.99 tacos and $6.99 specialty drinks. The 1010XL restaurant of the day is One Night Taco Stand, Mandarin, Orange Park, and Southside at Bay Meadows.
I'm Lorianne Whittington here with Percy Howlett. We are so grateful to the Players Championship for supporting Pine Castle in our mission to empower individuals with intellectual and developmental differences.
Only 49 days till the Players.
Chose C for CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. They can transform your backyard with fire pits, pergolas, screen enclosures, and outdoor kitchens. And CSS handles the entire project from start to finish. You dream it, they build it. CSSOutdoor.com.
Hey, it's Matt Hays. Around this time last year, I was celebrating. Why? Because I had reached my goal of dropping 40 pounds with Awaken 180. It felt great. We all set goals, but most times we don't have a plan to hit them. So it's not really a goal. I'd call it more of a wish, and we know how that saying goes. With Awaken 180, I didn't wish the weight away. I had a plan, and this time, I knew I'd reach my goal, and I did it. 40 pounds gone in just 2 months. Simple. That was a year ago, and I haven't put on a pound. How do I feel? Like $1 million. Like the horizon line that looked so far away all those years is now right in front of me. And it's a brand new day, and it's time to seize it. Night and day from where I felt carrying around all that weight, having to untuck my shirts, winded trying to tie my shoes. If you're overweight, you know what I mean. Set your goal and know you'll reach it with the solution for weight loss. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
This is Hays Carlyon for Harrell and Harrell. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harrell and Harrell. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harrell & Harrell at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
I'm Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Prize Picks. After Florida State's season turned out to be a disaster, many people put question marks around Mike Norvell and the contract extension he signed going into this season. Josh Pate gave a strong argument for why those hating on Norvell and his extension have recency bias, explaining why the extension was necessary at the time he signed it.
Nobody was doubting Mike Norvell this time last year. And then the Alabama job came open. Mike Norvell's name was mentioned. It was real enough to where maximum leverage was enjoyed and contract extension was signed. That's not poorly timed. That's absolutely when that would happen. You do a really good job. Other people want you. If the place you're at right now wants to keep you and they decide they do, then they make it worth your while to stay.
It's 45 degrees at 5:06. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
Frangie and Carlyon. La Selva. Is it snowing yet? Not snowing yet.
I don't think it's snowing yet.
No sleet?
No, but it's awfully cold. It's driving me crazy, to be quite frank.
I wish we had 3 or 4 inches.
I cannot stand it.
I wish we had 3 or 4 inches of that snow just so I go there. Because I'd make a snowball come up and just drill you guys.
Yeah.
I just come in. I would walk right back in here. What's left of my noodle arm right now, I just let it. I just let it fly. I'll bet JJ's got a little something left. You can see JJ hitting that little shorter, that little one hopper.
I was a third baseman, bro.
Got to make that off balance throw. Oh, I know what you were. You got to make that off balance throw, but you still got something left.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
about like three or four throws, and that's about it.
Yeah. So there is that. So all right, thank goodness we got no snow. I'm very disappointed. All right, back to the Jags in a minute. Excuse me. The games first. Surprises coming. I mean, because Kansas City, Buffalo. There's not really a surprise there.
No,
that's not a. I mean, I think Kansas City's going to win because they always win, but nobody would be shocked there. I don't think. The NFC, I mean, that's almost a surprise kind of already, you know, the fact that Washington's in the game. They could win. They could win, couldn't they?
I think particularly if Jalen Hurts is really bothered by the knee, and I think the early indications are that it is an issue. It's, it is something that maybe he'll be able to play through, but if Jalen Hurts can't really move, how effective can he be? Now, the Eagles are talented enough that maybe a heavy dose of Saquon Barkley will be enough. But you have to think you're going to need to score 27 to beat Jaden Daniels the way that he's playing. So, yeah, I think Washington absolutely has a chance. We've talked about it. They're playing with total house money. I mean, they're still 2 years away from the year. So, I mean, they should be able to play pretty loose and easy, even considering the stakes. So I would say the NFC game certainly has a chance to surprise us, particularly and what if Jalen Hurts doesn't play at all?
Right.
I mean, what if he can't play?
Well, then
Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, well, Kenny Pickett would be the quarterback. But then I would almost think that, I mean, if you told me right now Jalen Hurts was out, I don't think he will be. I don't think you could keep him off that game.
Yeah,
I think he'd come
the
off
line
the stretcher.
suggests he's playing.
Yeah, I think
they're a 6-point favorite.
Yeah, I think you'd have to yank him off the stretcher and he'd play in that game. But if you told me all of a sudden he was out,
what if he only gives you one series?
Yeah. Well, then I think if you told me he was out, I'd probably pick Washington to win the game, and that's how well they're playing. It's a shame, by the way, for Ben Johnson and Bears and Jags and all that notwithstanding. It's a shame we're not getting Eagles Lions. I mean,
what a war.
It's kind of like the NCAA basketball tournament. You root for the upset. You can't wait for the upset until the week later when you wish you can't wait to see Dayton upset Duke. Man, you can't wait, and you party and you fist bump because Dayton beat Duke. But then the next week you don't get Duke, Kansas.
Right.
You get Dayton, Kansas, and you get 85-64.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem with right in that, and it's kind of this way too. It was really, and I don't have anything against the Lions, but it was really cool seeing Washington upset them. And even though they'll hang around, you don't get the Lions and Eagles. That's the downside of it.
That is the downside because Washington just arrived at the party, so they haven't had this years of hype. Like Detroit, this was their year. They may never be as strong as they are right now, and so to have wasted that, I think it hurts. I think it's going to hurt the number. The ratings will be great because it's the NFL and they'll be great, but I don't think it'll do the number it would have done if it was Eagles going to Detroit.
Oh,
because the casual fan has gotten accustomed to the Detroit Lions are must-watch football. And Washington will become that with Jaden Daniels, but they aren't there yet. Like the diehard, like us, the NFL, I think we're all excited to see Jaden Daniels and what he can do in this moment. But the casual sports fan is probably like, Washington? Who does Washington have? You're just not – it just takes time. You've got to be relevant for a while. And obviously in the AFC, you have that, in totality with the dynasty that is the Chiefs. And everybody knows Josh Allen and the Bills and how close they've been. So the AFC will be a monster ratings number. But yeah, I think in the NFC, because Washington is so new to the party, I don't think there'll be the national excitement for the game, but I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, I same, but I feel better about the other one. Any chance you'd pick Buffalo?
Oh yeah.
You think Buffalo's going to win? We're not doing picks anymore, so you can reveal.
Yeah, no, I will pick Kansas City just because they've just gotten to the point where
hard not to
imagine them walking off their home field with one more point than Buffalo. But I absolutely, I think it's a coin flip game. But it's just Kansas City will make something happen in the final 2 minutes to win the game. I think the only way Buffalo wins it is if they go in there and beat them 27-13.
Yeah.
And there isn't that drama late necessarily.
I agree.
Like they're able to just go in and kind of convincingly win.
And I even think more. I think it would take more points than even that.
It probably would.
But I think your point is they're not going to win a nail biter against Kansas City. They'd have to control them. I agree with that. I think that is correct. But I think the Bills. I think Kansas City can win a 27-19 game. I think the Bills need it in the 30s to win the game. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. All right, we'll take a break. Hays has the headlines on the other side. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
The NBA is on 1010XL.
Orlando hits the road to Toronto for a matchup with Scotty Barnes and the Raptors. Tonight at 7 on 1010 a.m.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon for MyBookie. Find your New Year's stride with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start. And check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to get a 50% bump on your first deposit. For a limited time, MyBookie will add 50% to your initial deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Eagles are favored by 5.5 points over Washington in the NFC title game. The over-under is 48 points. In the AFC, the Bills are a 1.5-point road underdog versus the Chiefs. The total on that game is 47.5 points. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it's a 50% bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Why buy from Hodges Mazda at the Avenues? Because they strive to ensure a satisfying and comfortable car buying experience. And now they're giving back. Lauren Brooks here. Hodges Mazda wants to say thank you to all educators, first responders, and healthcare providers by offering a complimentary oil change and car wash. Simply call them today or schedule online at HodgesMazda.com. This is part of the Hodges Mazda difference. Come experience for yourself. HodgesMazda.com. Free oil change not to exceed $79.99. Excludes diesel vehicles. Expires January 31st, 2025. See dealer for complete details.
This is Dr. George Bari inviting you to look online at BariOrthopedics.com for the latest in medical advancements when it comes to getting you back to full joint health. After studying under Dr. James Andrews, I know proper diagnosis is the first key to treatment, and educating the patient is the fastest path to recovery. Whether it's chronic back pain, nagging arthritis, or necessary joint replacement, we're here to serve you in the best possible way. We are Bari Orthopedics and online at BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie. If you have a sweet tooth like me, the sweetest desserts in town come from Spoonful Bakery. Spoonful is an online bakery. They deliver boxes of assorted desserts right to your home or office. They're so good, and they make for great gifts for friends or clients. And if you want custom orders, wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or catered desserts for an event, they are the best. Log on to spoonful-bakery.com or call them at 904-515-4984. That's Spoonful Bakery for the sweetest desserts in town.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
When the heat's on high or the chill is too much, who you gonna call? Cool Cats Heating and Cooling is locally owned and operated with a perfect touch. You'll keep your home just right, day or night. AC to heating, don't take a beating. Call the coolest cats in town. With a 5-star Google rating, they're your neighbors, ready to help. So get your paw of approval from Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town. CoolCatsJacks.com.
Tony Baselli gets up early Monday morning to share a big football breakfast with you.
Some French toast and sausage patties.
Hall of Fame Monday, 7:20 with Dan and Jeff on the Drill. Brought to you by Heritage Roofing of North Florida on 1010XL.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Homeowners, listen up. It's time to start fresh in 2025. Prosser here, and Loan Pronto is here to help take control of your finances in 2025 by lowering your house payments and consolidating that nagging debt. Did you know that 9 out of 10 borrowers get a better deal by calling Loan Pronto? Right now, Loan Pronto has some of the most competitive offers for refis, debt consolidation, and purchase loans, starting in the low 5s APR. If your current rate is over 6%, don't settle for paying too much. Even if you're in process with another lender, call Loan Pronto now. Lock in at a lower rate today and close in as little as 2 weeks, often with no appraisal. You can even skip your next 2 house payments. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Get your personalized Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees. Call now, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLS consumeraccess.org.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at over $2,600 per ounce. Pay bills. Buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round.
It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
Welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is here. JJ LaSelva is here. I am Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured or a loved one, give them a call at 251-1111. Local, strong, compassionate, everything that you would want to help you through your time of need. Frank, we are going to start with the Jaguars, as we often do. Give me a percentage for Liam Coen that you think is he the favorite in your opinion? And if so, how much of a percentage would you put on Liam Coen being the next leader of this organization?
I think if he doesn't mess it up, he's the coach. And that's no disrespect to Patrick Graham or Robert Saleh, who are both darn good football coaches. And I'd be happy with either. But I think if he doesn't mess it up, I think this is such a critical time. And I think he's a rising star in their mind. Well, by the way, I've had a lot of people ask me, hey, how do you think he'll do? I got no idea how he's going to do. I would have answered the same way with Ben Johnson. I don't know. But in the minds of them and some others, people say, well, why does nobody else want him? Well, either A, you're getting it totally wrong, and there's a reason he's not on anybody else's list, or B, you're ahead of everybody here, like the Rams were with McVay. McVay was going to be good, but nobody was hiring him at 31 years old except the Rams. Nobody. So let's hope it's the latter. But to your specific question, again, Hays, I've been saying for a month it's one of those two. I'm not going to back off that. I would be surprised if Liam Cohen's not the next Jaguars coach.
If by some reason Liam Coen didn't work out, let's say if Tampa did have the coup and fired Todd Bowles and convinced him to stay, are we too far gone, in your opinion, to bring in like a Mike McCarthy or a Pete Carroll?
That is a really good question. I don't think that's where they would go. I just don't get the read. I think they would circle back to the people they've had interviews with. My guess is Robert Saleh would be the Jaguars coach. If it does, if for whatever reason it doesn't happen, I would want, again, I wonder, or if they're hell-bent, hey, that's a great question. If they're hell-bent or convinced that you have to have a young quarterback guy who can grow with Trevor, then do you sit back and wait for Joe Brady's season to end? That's the other thought I wonder about, or Kellen Moore's season to end. So I don't think you bring in a guy now that would be new to the party. I don't think that. It's a great question. But if you ask me who I think the coach is, I think it's going to be Liam Coen. If you said, okay, but what if it's not? I would probably guess that Robert Saleh would be the next Jets coach.
Good stuff. The Jets are hopeful to hire Aaron Glenn maybe as early as today as they do an in-person interview.
I think he's been ticketed there for a long time. I think he's a good coach, a leader of men. The only question I would have is, are you hiring the same guy back-to-back? Robert Saleh, then Aaron Glenn. That doesn't mean just because you most recently hired a defensive guy like Matt Eberflus, so the next guy's got to be Ben Johnson like the Bears did. It works out that way a lot, but doesn't mean that's what you have to do. But, I think Aaron Glenn's good. I think he's going to be a good coach. I think that'll be a good hire for the Jets.
Some news on the Cowboys front. Dallas is going to interview Florida alum Brian Schottenheimer.
Schotty's ready to go play. My favorite story. I said, hey, Steve Spurrier after Garrett Cresser went to Marshall, and all he had left as the starter was Werfel. I said, what happens if Werfel gets hurt? He goes, Schotty's ready to go play. So to me, Brian Schottenheimer will always be Schotty's ready to go play. Schotty's ready to go play. I was shocked to hear the news that are interviewing him. Now, it will be panned only because here's how the fan bases work. If it's not a name that you had on your list and he gets hired, everybody's mad about it. Doesn't mean he's not good. Doesn't mean it won't work. Right? Isn't that the way it works? If you're not on the list that the fans have been knocking around X and Twitter or whatever, then they're mad if you hire him. But so I'm surprised by it, to be honest with you. But I still think Kellen Moore's their coach.
Some breaking news this afternoon in terms of a head coach that's already entrenched with his club. The Vikings have agreed to a multi-year extension with Kevin O'Connell. Great move there in Minnesota.
Great move. I think he's really good. And I want to tell myself if Liam Coen winds up here that the Sean McVay tree works. That's what I'm going to tell myself, and that's what I'm going to keep myself believing. Kevin O'Connell's a good coach. I can tell you this. I can tell you when Chip Kelly was interviewed for 5 hours by Florida, when they interviewed Kelly and Frost and then wound up hiring Mullen. If they had hired, at the time, Kevin O'Connell was the quarterback's coach in Washington. And Chip Kelly was bringing Kevin as his coordinator to Gainesville if he had gotten that job.
Wow.
Yeah, he was coming with him. So he's a very well-respected coach.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to say, as we get it to the AFC South, I'm a little worried about the moves that we're seeing in Indianapolis and in Tennessee. We're going to start with the Colts. They hire former Cincinnati defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo. He is a really good seasoned coach. I mean, for them to fire Gus Bradley, Shane Steichen, I think you have to give him a lot of credit. I mean, obviously it didn't go great for him this year with the Bengals, but he has been rock solid over the course of his career.
Yeah, I'll worry more about the Colts when I'm worried about their quarterback situation. There's no knock on AR. I love the fact he was a Gator, and I root for all the ex-Gators. But I'm not going to worry about the Colts. The Colts haven't won that division in 10 years, and part of it's been a dearth of good quarterbacks. So I hear you, but that doesn't alarm me.
The Titans have hired former Dallas special teams coordinator John Fossil, who again has been doing it at a high level for a long time. Tennessee had just dreadful special teams this year. So Brian Callahan, big step towards getting that fixed today.
You know my take on this. Okay, maybe he'll be fine. But you know my take on this. Be careful when you fire a good football coach. I'll say it again. What were the Tennessee Titans thinking? They had their version of John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin, a guy that loved the team, that the city loved him. You could never go wrong with him. He was going to have some ups and downs, but he was going to prove, like Harbaugh and Tomlin, that he could rebuild it. What were the Tennessee, and I know this is a very late opinion because we've all shared it in the last year and a half. What were the Tennessee Titans thinking? What do you feel like as a fan when the guy you ran out of town 1 year later is by far the top guy on everybody's candidate list, on everybody's list? I'll bet you if you'd have told Jags, Bears, Raiders, Saints, Jets they could have had Mike Vrabel, I'll bet just about everybody would have jumped.
Without a doubt.
He was my first guy. And so, again, what were the Titans thinking? And then they fired him because he couldn't get along with the GM. Then they fired the GM. Now what are you doing?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Speaking of the Bengals, there's a report that they are going to look to hire Notre Dame defensive coordinator Al Golden, who we were just talking about on yesterday's show.
Good coach.
Yeah, would you like to see that?
I would. JJ, we talked about it the other day. Al Golden, JJ, you underscored it for us. Probably didn't get a fair shake in Miami. Didn't get his due, did he?
Yeah, he's just not a head coach either. Yeah. I thought it was hilarious that literally as the clock went to quadruple zeros in the national title game, Schefter and everybody are tweeting out that he's going to the Bengals. So obviously they'd known this for a minute.
Yeah, without a doubt. Let's get it to college football and that national championship game. Ohio State emerges victorious over Notre Dame, winning 34-23. Frank, how do you think this Buckeyes team will be remembered among the champions?
A lot of dudes. They'll remember a quarterback who was the ultimate college quarterback, a gamer, probably not going to do much at the next level. But certainly, I mean, you look at the quarterbacks that have won titles in Ohio State, and none of them really did much as they moved on. But a team with a lot of players, they're all going to remember number 4. They're going to remember the defensive end, and I'm drawing a blank from Columbus. What's his name? 33.
Sawyer.
Sawyer's what, by the way, I believe Pyburn could have been if he'd have stayed one more year. The lifelong Gator, the lifelong Buckeye. They'll remember that. And listen, here's what they'll remember. It's a titleist. You don't get to win those titles very often. A physical team full of a bunch of dudes, and that's what they were. Very similar to the Southern teams that win it, that are tough and physical with a handful of really fast guys.
Marcus Freeman dazzled throughout the playoff with how he approached each game, but were you surprised last night when he elected for the field goal down 16?
The only mistake I think he's made in the entire postseason was kicking the field goal there. It was 4th and about 9, and that was the only mistake he made was the attempted field goal. By the way, guy's got to make the field goal.
Right.
Okay. But the only mistake I thought he made was kicking. Now he got the ball back shortly thereafter, but I thought that was his biggest mistake. But I'll tell you what, he's a shining star, man. He's a guy that I think will have NFL opportunities if he wants to. I'd say he'd have other college opportunities. He's already at Notre Dame. You don't leave Notre Dame. Now, Brian Kelly did, but you rarely leave Notre Dame for the next job. So I love the way he's handled himself. I think I like him. I think he's a really neat guy. All the good people are saying about Marcus Freeman, I would agree with.
Ohio State freshman receiver Jeremiah Smith sealed the win with a long pass towards the end of the game to seal it. Best freshman receiver ever?
Certainly, he's the only guy I can ever remember hearing learned people, not fan guys, not guy that started a website in his garage. He's the first guy I can ever remember, the Jim Nagy's and the Dane Bruglers, who I really trust, saying if he was in the draft this year, he'd be the first pick. Maybe Herschel Walker. Maybe they didn't say it about Bo. Maybe Herschel Walker in 1980, they said if he was in the draft, he'd be the first pick. Can you ever remember that commentary, even about some of the great quarterbacks?
Maybe Adrian Peterson?
Maybe
his freshman year.
Yeah, but
I don't remember necessarily number 1 pick.
Yeah, but
running backs at that point still could go number 1.
Yeah, you're right. The only other guy I can ever remember people say, whether true or not, The only other guy I could ever remember that being the conversation, that being the narrative, was Herschel Walker. So in that regard, yes, probably the greatest receiver ever is the freshman.
The final conference bowl totals are in. The Big Ten finished 11-6. The SEC was 8-7. The Big 12 was 4-5, and the ACC was 2-11.
Yeah, the Big Ten was the best league this year. They have the champion. They had the most teams in the playoffs. The Big Ten was the best league this year. They were. Would the script have been different had Carson Beck not gotten hurt and Will Howard gotten hurt? Well, that's not how it played out. The way it played out is availability is the most important ability. Give the Big Ten credit. They had a great year. First of all, Penn State was really good. Michigan won really big games down the stretch. Illinois won their first bowl game since 2011. It was a good league. It was a legitimately good league this year.
Yeah, absolutely. The season took 149 days to play out. Georgia Tech beat Florida State on August 24th.
How about that? And I think they play again next week. So
yeah, right.
But I did not feel like last week did not feel too late for me. I know some people said it felt too late because of the playoff. It's weird the way it's bunched in there in the middle of all the NFL stuff, but it did not feel too late. Did it to you?
No, I had no problem with it.
I did not feel too late.
It can be 7 months long.
Yeah, same.
What am I going to do now? That's the way I look at it.
Well said.
ESPN's Mark Schlabach released his way too early top 25. He has his top 5 as Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame, and Georgia. He has the Gators at 18th.
Yeah, I think that's about. The Gators should be somewhere in the teens, probably higher teens. I would agree with that. I think he's got today's Blue Bloods up there. You made a great point about Penn State. Are they the next team to take the next step with the quarterback back and a really good football team? And that's a great point. Yeah, I agree with that. Texas is up there because of the quarterback. Everybody wants to see Arch Manning. Georgia's the most intriguing team in the group because they are left with Gunnar Stockton as their quarterback. And I just don't know that he's special. And again, you made a good point too. The sample size on him isn't very big, in fairness to the kid. But I don't think there's a portal guy out there they can go grab. I don't see someone popping in. I don't see someone popping into the. I don't see after spring practice Garrett Nussmeier shocking the world and going into the May portal and winding up in Athens. I don't think something like that's going to happen. At least there certainly doesn't appear to be any evidence of that.
In college basketball, the Gators are back in action tomorrow at South Carolina, who has sort of become the worst team in the league in terms of when you look at the net rankings and they're 0-5. Any danger lurking in Columbia for Florida?
Yes. Yeah, I think the league's good enough that you're going to have the 1-8 team beat a 7-3 team somewhere along the line. I think that's going to happen. I hope it doesn't happen. Here's why that game, and even the home game against Georgia on Saturday, are so important, Hayes. You got to win the ones you're supposed to win. There's enough of them that you might not win. This team still has to go to Tennessee, to Alabama, to Auburn. Those are 3 really hard games. There's a lot of really hard games in there. Win the ones you're supposed to win because there's some hard ones lurking down the road.
Let's get it to golf. Happy birthday to Jack Nicklaus. The Golden Bear turns 85 today.
Isn't that great? Who doesn't love Jack Nicklaus? Like you, our dads probably were both big Nicklaus fans. I know my dad was, and I think yours was as well. Happy birthday to the Golden Bear.
Yes, absolutely. 6-time Masters champion. Let's get it to weather.
We're getting it to weather?
It is snowing in New Orleans.
On a Tuesday afternoon, we're going straight weather.
It is snowing on Bourbon Street. It is snowing now, as you mentioned, in Florida. What is happening?
The best part of this conversation, you said it's snowing on Bourbon Street. I said it's snowing in Pensacola. I don't give a damn about Pensacola. Let's go back to Bourbon Street. But yeah, it's weird. It's one of those weird stretches. And I'm interested here. I think, haven't they already closed schools tomorrow?
They have in Duval. I don't think they have in St. Johns County yet, but they're a little further south.
They've already closed schools, so it's it's gonna be weird to see for sure.
I see it started in Tallahassee as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's just amazing.
First time in 130 plus years in New Orleans.
How about that?
It's stunning, unbelievable. We will get you out on our musical nugget of the day because on this date, back in 1983. The Eurythmics released Sweet Dreams Are Made of These. Annie Lennox and Dave Stewart created one of the best synth riffs in rock history. as well as one of the most creative and odd videos of the era. This song reached #1 on the Billboard chart.
Love it. Love it. Great piece of the 80s. No question about it. Well done. We'll take a break, wrap the program. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harold and Harold studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
College football, the Ohio State Buckeyes winning the national title Monday night 34-23 over Notre Dame as college football completes the first year of the 12-team playoff. For Ohio State, it was their 6th national title and the first since 2014. Looking ahead to the 2025 national champion, Texas is the betting favorite. The Longhorns are plus 450. They lost in the Cotton Bowl to Ohio State, while the Buckeyes are plus 500 to repeat as national champions. The Georgia Bulldogs are plus 600. Oregon and Penn State are both at plus 750. Alabama at plus 1,300. And Notre Dame is at plus 1,800. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
Aunt Linda clogged the guest bathroom. Your nephew thought the AC was a snow machine. And let's not even talk about the kitchen sink after that turkey grease incident. Ooh.
Congratulations, your family finally left. But the mess stayed behind.
Don't worry. Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning can fix it all. From backed up pipes to overworked AC units, we've got you covered.
Start the new year fresh because your house deserves it.
Call Duck Duck Rooter today at 904-862-6769. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
This is Hays Carlyon from my friend Holt at Harold and Harold. There doesn't seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. Then you get injured in an accident and you don't know what you're going to do. Let Harold and Harold make it easy for you. Easy on becoming a client. You can just text or email if you want. Easy on finding a doctor and getting through the process. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold and Harold and make it easy on yourself. Call them at 904-251-1111. That's 251-1111.
D1 Training East Jacksonville invites you to their mega NFL football camp at the Bowl School February 1st from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Ages 7 through 16. Get hands-on coaching from former NFL players at every single station. The coaches lineup put together by Connor and Sam at D1 is proudly sponsored by Tim Tebow. To sign up, call 904-901-6470.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window
World, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Hey, Hicken here for Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code JAX, J-A-X, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code JAX to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, man. Run your game.
It's about the hunt.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Lagerman. We take you from the water to the woods.
On the Nimnicht Outdoors Show. Presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning.
Let's go to the woods, y'all.
Saturday mornings from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
When you're injured, you probably have more questions than answers, and all you really want is to feel better. This is Joe C., and I certainly can identify. Well, thanks to Rebound Rehab, I bounced back from a serious case of ankle tendonitis to feel pain-free. And they can do the same for you. 8 locations across the First Coast and a team of physical therapists ready to help. From laser and radio pressure wave therapy to aquatic and massage therapy, they can offer real solutions to help you rebound. Log on, reboundrehab.com, and start your path back to pain-free life.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's the Mangler.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
Good morning, big freaks. Who's ready to move? Let's start this day right.
Tasha's morning dance parties are meeting rave reviews.
Lose your phones and find your groove.
They need an ops manager to help their community dance the morning away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jacks cool since '87.
All right, where have we been in this program today? We've certainly talked about the list of candidates that will have a second interview. Liam Coen, Patrick Graham, Robert Saleh coming in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we are told. And then we'll see if the Jags have a coach after that. We'll talk about that a little. We did it on the program today. We certainly talked about Ohio State, Notre Dame. Congratulations to the Buckeyes, a well-deserved champion. A kind of an odd season, odd finish, but the best team in college football won it, and they certainly did deserve that. We talked a little bit about college football moving forward. Everybody's way too early 25, including the Gators. Where does everybody have them as we move forward? And we talked again about the games coming up in the NFL. 2 fantastic games, conference championship games. Going to be a fun Sunday, as it always is. And that is where we've been. JJ, what do you got to give away? Let's give something away today.
Yeah, I got a pair of tickets to see AEW Collision January 25th at Daly's Place. Tickets are on sale now at allelitewrestling.com. Or you could be caller number 4 right now at 641-1010, and I'll hook you up with a pair of tickets.
Love it. Caller number 4, 641-1010, and you will be hooked up. Thursday we'll be out at JU again. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Got another trip to JU, and then we'll have a couple of trips coming to UNF. They're going to be. I love watching those two teams play. JU's off to something special. If they make the conference championship game again, it'll be 3 times in 4 years that Mincy's made that. That's pretty impressive. Good. That's pretty good. Yeah, he's done a pretty good job of that. As for the college basketball in the SEC, I think we'll talk more about it tomorrow. That if the Gators are who we think they are, you get off a plane tonight, you go into the arena wherever they play, South Carolina, and you win by 12, and you get back on the plane and come home. And it's very uneventful. You know what I mean? It's very you don't need Walter Clayton firing up a 3-pointer at the buzzer to win. You don't lose. You go up there. There's going to be some. You're not winning by 25. It's going to be a good game. What will the line be? 5 or 6?
I would say a little more maybe, but I'm bad. It's harder for me to predict college basketball lines than football lines.
Yeah. So,
but I would think because here's why I think it'll be a little higher than that. Florida averages 86 points a game. South Carolina averages 71.6. Like, they can't score.
Yeah.
So I would think to get people to take South Carolina's side, you'd probably have to give them like 8.5, 9.
So maybe that'll be it. And I don't know anything about college basketball betting either. So, but the point is, and Hicken and I talked about this on the podcast today, Florida's got a really good team. You and I talked about this yesterday, but they're not loaded with lottery picks. This isn't Noah, Horford, and Brewer all on the same team. This isn't that. This is a tough, hard-nosed team that's got to be. They got to wear you down with toughness and length and rebounding. They're going to rebound you till you never want to see another rebound. And their guards are old and they'll make plays. They're veteran guards, which helps them. But a team like that can't be asleep at the wheel, because a team like that bumps into a team playing at home that's destined to win a game at some point that they're not supposed to win. And the next thing you know, they're playing well. So you can't run into that team. I think they're okay tomorrow night. I think Saturday could get sticky. Georgia's pretty good. Mike White knows the lay of the land with that team. They went to overtime last year against Georgia in Gainesville.
Blue Kane will probably hit 9 threes.
Of course he will. So and the Georgia freshman Asa Newell's really good.
Mm-hmm.
He's 6'11", and he's got NBA written all over him. He may be, I don't know if he's gonna be the first pick. He's a lottery pick, So you got to play against. So I think tomorrow. Not easy, but I think they get to 4-2 tomorrow. I think the home game against Georgia is sticky on Saturday.
I think it will be as well. I mean, again, that'll be a measuring stick game for Georgia. I mean, and they are talented. I think Florida will get it done.
Yeah, I do too.
But it will be a game with 4 minutes left. I'd be surprised if it's like what we saw Saturday with Texas.
Yeah, I would too. And so it'll be fun. This is going to be a fun end season. It's going to be a fun February, March.
Yeah, I mean, we're now within 2 months of Selection Sunday, so it kind of feels like the season just sort of started, but we're probably closer to the end of this thing than many realize.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would agree. So it's going to be fun as we watch them down the stretch, both not just the Florida basketball team, but college basketball overall. It's going to be an interesting. Now that college football's over, now that we are 2 games. 2 weeks, but 2 games away from the NFL season being over, boy, there will be that normal emptiness. And I'm like you, JJ. I love baseball and I love spring training and I love it.
We're still a while from that.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, pitchers and catchers are still probably a month away.
Golf will help some.
Golf will help.
You get the Players Week,
I agree.
which is a great week.
We're going to have a lot of coaches talk and draft stuff.
Yeah.
So, I always feel like that from a content standpoint at the station, but it just the NFL season never ends, man.
No,
it really doesn't.
And they're smart about that.
And when it does end, we all take vacation in that 5 week
for like
period.
2 weeks.
Yeah, between OTAs and training camp.
But we don't have there's no Olympics this year.
Right.
No World Baseball Classic. Not that that's a big deal to everybody, but there's not. There's no.
You guys need to get into Premier League or something.
Yeah. There's not that for us. There's no
hockey. It's not your thing.
Not my thing. Golf's great, but there's not one. There's not Scheffler maybe, but it's not like Tiger. You know what I mean? It's just going to be a.
And until the players, it's really nothing.
That's correct.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
But at least once you get to the players, you at least have 1 week of each month.
I love that.
Where there is a massive tournament.
And in about a couple of weeks, I think we're 2 weeks away now from Lee Smith coming in every Thursday, which is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he certainly knows the game. But it's just it just feels like it was a long football season.
Yes.
But it was a story-filled football, wasn't it? I mean,
oh, yeah.
I mean, think about it. It started like you said, when Georgia Tech and FSU played.
That seems ages ago.
And a week later,
it was 3 years ago.
But a week later, we're talking about JJ heading down to Ocala to watch the Gators and
man, that was. Yeah, it's snowing here now.
Yeah,
it was literally like 100 degrees in that stadium.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So I mean, so you think about it, it was.
At least you guys have baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got nothing.
Yeah, we do. Well, so with the Dodgers in at $380 million and the Pirates at $72, we sort of have baseball. Okay, it's $380 to $72, by the way, in case you want to know.
That's amazing.
$380 million.
They have players worth more than your entire roster.
They do. They actually have a number of players that'll make more than our whole team.
That's incredible.
Let's say hello to Rick Below.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
Dodgers are at $380 million, Rick. They're over the cap. There's no question.
You know what we need? We need Shad Khan to buy a baseball team.
Buy my team, please. Yeah. What can I do? Mark Lamping, if you're listening, and I know you listen, let's talk to Shad about buying the Pirates.
He'll spend the money. Trent Baalke in a dual role. Trent Baalke becomes the Deion Sanders of general managers. The Bo Jackson. He just, one hand, he's got the Jaguars, and they win 30% of their games. And then over here, you've got the Pittsburgh Pirates who win 35% of their games. There you go. Everyone loves it.
That is fantastic. Woo! Rick, you got 3 candidates. It looks like the Jaguars coach is coming from one of those 3, I would imagine, right?
Yeah. And I've been all over Tampa today just trying to see if there's anything more. Rick Stroud wrote an interesting bit. And, my buddy J.P. Peterson was on with us last night. He maintains that Bowles could be out here to keep Liam Coen. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
How do you fire a guy who's won 3 straight divisional titles?
Yeah.
Albeit he won it at 8-9, 9-8, and 10-7.
Still won them all.
Still won 3 straight divisions.
Yeah, you can't fire a guy that's won the division 3 straight times. You can't.
I just don't know what the locker room would be like if you did something like that. So
and he's a well-liked guy in that locker room, Todd Bowles.
So can you overpay to keep him? And even if you overpay to keep an offensive coordinator, that's still going to pale in comparison to being a head coach in the NFL.
No, if the Jacksonville Jaguars offer Liam Coen the job to come here and coach Trevor Lawrence, it doesn't matter what Tampa does. A shot, like to your point, shy of firing the coach and making him the head coach,
right? And
that stuff never works out. So I don't.
And I kind of feel as though they missed that opportunity.
Yeah.
They had a couple of, it took Dallas a few extra days with Mike McCarthy, but you do it now, it's not going to look good there in Tampa. So that may be a stretch, but anyway, we'll track that amongst everything else that's going on.
Surprised last night about the way the game played out, Ohio State, or what you expected?
I was surprised that Notre Dame came back the way that they did. I thought they were down and out when they were down by 3 scores, but they just kept rallying, and what a gutty team. But and I'm actually going to begin with that. I thought last night was a great thing for college football, and I'll tell the people why I believe that, but it's the changing of the guard in this sport where there's so many things that are wrong. But I thought last night's victory, there's one thing that's right, and that is the new 12-team college football playoff.
No question. Totally agree with you. I'll be listening. Rick Ballou goes into the night. Comes up right now. That'll do it for our program. Stay safe, everybody. It is going to be wet out there, cold out there. Roads are going to be a little bit slippery. Please stay safe. We'll be here tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.